I never told my high school teacher she saved my life that day in the library because when she sat down and asked if I was really okay, I lied and said I was just tired. I didn't have the words back then, and now she's gone, and I still don't know how to say thank you to a ghost. I used to go to the library when I didn't want to be seen. Not even to read. I just sit in the far back corner behind the tall nonfiction shelves where no one really went. That spot felt invisible. I liked the quiet there. I liked not having to pretend to be okay. This was senior year. I wasn't failing anything, wasn't getting in trouble. I showed up, turned things in. I did what I was supposed to, but something in me was gone. I didn't laugh anymore. I didn't really talk unless someone spoke to me first. I was tired all the time. Not just tired like, I need sleep. More like I couldn't remember what it felt like to want to wake up. The day it happened started like any other. It was cold. February. The kind of gray where the sky just hangs there, colorless. I got dressed like usual, hoodie, jeans, same shoes I'd worn all year. I remember staring in the mirror before school and thinking I looked exactly like someone no one would notice. And honestly, that felt right. I'd written a note that morning. Just a few lines. Nothing dramatic. I said sorry, said I didn't blame anyone. I folded it in four and slid it into the back of my desk drawer at home. I planned it all after school, after I got off the bus. I wasn't going to make a mess. I just didn't want to feel like this anymore. Third period was math. I couldn't sit through it. I couldn't focus. The teacher was talking about derivatives or something, but the words felt like they were coming from underwater. My chest felt tight. My hands were shaking under the desk. So I raised my hand and asked to go to the nurse. The nurse gave me a chewable antacid and told me to lie down. I nodded, thanked her, but I didn't. I walked out of the office and turned down the hallway toward the library. It was mostly empty. A few kids at computers, a TA shelving books. I went straight to the back, the corner behind the 900s. I sat down at one of the square tables near the window. I stared out at the trees behind the school, bare and still, the kind of quiet that presses in on your ears. That's when it started, the part one never talk about. The crying without tears. That frozen kind of sobbing where your throat locks and your whole body just tightens. I must have been sitting like that for a while before I heard the footsteps. Not rushing. Just present. I wiped at my face and looked up. It was Miss Daly. She wasn't the librarian. She taught 11th grade English. I had her the year before. She was in her 50s maybe. Always wore scarves and cardigans. Spoke in a calm, slow voice that made you listen. She had this way of making eye contact that was never uncomfortable, just steady, like she really saw you. She had a small stack of books in her arms. When she saw me, she stopped. "You skipping class?" she asked. Her voice was light but not joking. "Nah," I said. "Nurse said I could rest." She didn't challenge me. She just walked over and gently placed the books on a nearby cart. Then she sat down across from me. "You look tired," she said after a pause. That word again. Tired. But she said it like it meant something more. I didn't answer right away. I was afraid my voice would crack. So I nodded and forced a smile. Just tired. She looked at me like she was waiting for the real answer. Then she said something I wasn't ready for. "Are you really okay?" I froze. No one had asked me that in a long time, not like that. Not in a way that felt like it mattered how I answered. Most people asked it the way you ask, "How was your weekend?" Just noise. But she said it with this stillness. I felt something rise in my throat like my whole body wanted to scream. Or confess. Or maybe both. But I didn't. I smiled again. That tight, fake kind of smile you use when you need the world to back off. "Yeah, I lied. I'm fine." She didn't call me out. She didn't push. She just nodded once, quietly. Then she said, "Okay. But if you ever want to talk. I'm in room 206, fourth period." No pressure. Then she stood up. She placed her hand gently on the table, not on me, just the surface, like she needed me to feel her presence without saying another word. And she walked away. She never brought it up again. And I never went to room 206. But that afternoon I didn't go home and follow through on my plan. I didn't even go home right away. I sat in the nurse's office for an hour, staring at the ceiling, quietly crying into the pillow they kept on the cot. And then I went home. I took the note out of the drawer. I didn't throw it away, I just unfolded it, then folded it again and put it back in a different drawer. I don't know why her words hit me the way they did. Maybe because she didn't pry. Maybe because she didn't treat me like a problem to fix. She just saw me. For 5 minutes. In silence. That's all it took to change something. I never told her. Not when I graduated. Not when I started college. Not when I finally started going to therapy a few years later and could actually say the words I wanted to die that day. I thought about emailing her once. Even opened the draft. But I couldn't do it. I felt embarrassed. Like I'd be bothering her. Like maybe it didn't matter anymore. Then last year, someone I knew from high school posted on Facebook. Rest in peace, Miss Daly. One of the kindest people I ever met. I felt sick. I hadn't even known she was sick. Or old enough to pass. I never got the details. Just gone. Now there's no way to say it. No way to thank her. No way to let her know that one quiet conversation in the library kept me here. That her sitting down, just sitting down, kept me alive. I thought maybe writing her family would help. A few weeks after I saw the post, I searched online, obituaries, tribute pages, anything. I found a short write-up in the local paper. It said she'd passed peacefully, surrounded by family. Said she'd taught for over 30 years. No cause listed. There was a photo grainy cropped from a group picture. She was smiling. Same soft eyes. Same slight tilt of the head. It felt strange looking at her face through a screen. I didn't know her first name until then. Marianne. It didn't fit somehow. She'd always just been Ms. Daly. The obituary listed a son and a daughter. I looked them up too. Her daughter had a LinkedIn. Her son's Facebook was locked down except for a banner photo. The beach, a sunset, and what looked like her handwriting below it in a quote. Be gentle. You never know. I thought about messaging them. I even typed something. Something like, "Hi, I was one of your mom's students. She once sat with me in the library when I was 17, and, well, I never told her, but that small moment changed everything. I think it saved my life, but I deleted it, over and over. It felt too personal, too raw to send to strangers. What if they didn't answer? What if they did and it made things worse? I went quiet again after that. For months. Then this strange thing happened. I was at the grocery store, standing in line behind this older woman. She had short gray hair and a scarf. Not the same as Ms. Daly's, but close. She turned slightly, said, "Oh, I forgot my coupons," then smiled apologetically, and I froze. Just for a second, I thought it was her. Like my brain filled in the missing years and tried to bring her back. But of course, it wasn't. She was gone. Still, I stood there after she left the line. Just stuck. Heart racing. This awful pressure behind my eyes. I didn't cry. I just stood there, holding my basket like it was the only thing keeping me upright. Later that night, I pulled out the old note, the one I'd written at 17. I'd kept it all these years. Yellowed now, creased to hell. I read it again. And I realized something. I'd never mentioned her in it. That original version, the one I wrote the morning I thought would be my last. Didn't say her name. Didn't say anything about the people who were kind or who noticed or who paused to ask a real question. I think that's what hit me hardest. She saved me, and she didn't even know how close it had been. And now no one ever will. Because I didn't speak. I didn't thank her. I didn't do anything. And yet, she gave me time. Gave me breath. Gave me years I wouldn't have had. About 6 months later, I went back to the school. I don't know what I was hoping for. Closure, maybe. Or just to see the library again. I told myself I was just passing through the town and thought I'd stop by. But that was a lie. I drove 2 hours out of my way. The school had changed. New signs. A security desk at the front. I signed in as a visitor and gave some vague reason. Just wanted to see the library. I'm an alum. The receptionist, a younger guy, smiled and waved me through. They just remodeled it last summer, he said. It's a lot different now. I nodded, but I wasn't really listening. Walking those halls again felt like time had folded in on itself. Same scuff tiles, same echoes. But the students were younger now. Or maybe I just felt older. When I got to the library, I paused at the door. He was right. It was different. Brighter lighting. New chairs. The shelves were moved and the back corner. My corner was gone. That whole row had been replaced with a charging station and a row of computers. I just stood there, holding the door open, not stepping inside. After a moment, a woman at the front desk looked up and smiled politely. Need help finding something? I shook my head. No. Just visiting. And I left. I walked the halls for another few minutes before heading back toward the front. As I passed one of the English classrooms, I saw her name. Still there. Miss Daly. But it wasn't her room anymore. Some younger teacher had taken over. The door was open, and inside, the walls were covered with colorful posters. Nothing was the same. I kept walking. I didn't want to cry there. Not in that hallway. Not in front of strangers. When I got back to the car, I sat for a long time, hands on the wheel, not starting the engine. I thought about how spaces change, how people vanish, how something that once held the most painful version of yourself can eventually look like just another place. No trace left. No warning. I started driving home, but halfway there, I pulled over at a rest stop and took out my phone. I opened a notes app and started typing. I didn't know what I was writing at first, just words. Then I realized I was writing to her. The message I never sent. I told her everything. About the note. About how I'd planned it. About how she didn't fix me. She just paused long enough for me to decide not to go through with it. I told her I was okay now. Not perfect. Not cured. But okay. I hit save, then just stared at the screen. And that's when something twisted in my gut. I realized I'd started rewriting history in my head. Because the truth is, I'd wanted someone to stop me. I'd been leaving signs. Little ones, maybe, but still. And no one saw them. Not friends. Not teachers. Not even my parents. Except her. She didn't try to drag it out of me. Didn't force a conversation. She just sat. And now that kind of quiet help, the real kind, feels impossible to explain. Especially now that she's not here to hear it. And here's the worst part, I think I resented her for a while. For not doing more. For not following up the next day. For not pulling me aside again. But as I get older, I understand. She gave me what I could handle. No pushing. No spotlight. Just a place to feel seen. That's it. And that tiny, ordinary act kept me alive. I never sent the message. I saved it in my notes and closed the app, and every once in a while, I open it again just to read it, like maybe that counts for something. I tell myself she knew, that maybe she saw more than I realized. But the truth is, I'll never know if she went home that day thinking she did anything at all. And now I live with that, the silence I chose, and the thank you I never gave. Sometimes I still walk past people who remind me of her, and I almost say something. Almost, but I don't. Because how do you thank someone for saving your life when they're not here anymore? And how do you forgive yourself for waiting until it was too late to even try?